What is going on, you guys? So today I just want to make another quick video review for you guys, and this one is from Hamza Ahmed, and the title is I Fell Off Self-Improvement. So I really like Hamza, and I did actually stop watching him for a while. I stopped watching a lot of content for a while, and the reason I stopped watching Hamza for a bit is because he was always very convicted in what he's saying, and he has a positive message for guys. So I highly recommend you check out a few of his videos. It's just that he was he was dating a girl long term and saying like, I'm in the fatherhood era now, like this is what's about to happen. He's doing really well for himself, and then all of a sudden they broke up and he's out there dating again. So it was just the level of conviction that he had, and I think it's a wiser move for you to just admit that you don't know sometimes, right? Because I used to do that when I was younger too. Is like always felt like I needed to act sure or always say yes or no. And sometimes I didn't know the answer to something and I was going to find out the answer. And sometimes you just don't want to tell someone that you don't know. So I like recently Hamza's been shifting into more, let's say, humility around some of this, right? Like the video title is I Fell Off Self-Improvement. And he's also been going back to more self-improvement videos, including a little bit of the business stuff that he's been doing, right? So I really like the shift that's been going on here, so he can continue to help guys. And so I think this is going to be a really good one for us to watch. And I'll just make a few comments on it, but let's just go ahead and get into it.
Jeffrey's growing his self-improvement channel and things are going so well. He's changing lives. He's so happy. Wait. Jeffrey, what are you doing? What are all these business videos, Jeffrey? He's fallen off his own self-improvement. He's not taking it seriously. He's just focused on business now. Business is awesome, but Jeffrey, how are you going to come back from this? We'll see what happens to Jeffrey soon, but first, Adonis. Adonis is the ultimate man. Forged through decades of self-improvement, Adonis has built himself up to be a man of character, a man who sticks to his words, a man who has changed the world through discipline, humility, presence, gratitude, and leadership. I discovered self-improvements when I was 21 years old, when I was down bad. I'm waking up in my apartment. First thing that I do is grab my phone, go to the toilet, start having a shit and start scrolling on Reddit and Instagram. And not gonna lie, I'd usually start jacking off here whilst having a shit as well. Just 2-in-1 dopamine. Go and basically smoke weed right away, eating weird ultra processed junk food, like the random shit you've got in the fridge that you've had there for a while. Be picking through that, hop on some video games, and I ended up stumbling across the idea to improve your mental health. I started to try it, so I downloaded this app, like the best meditation app out there, which is called Medito. I downloaded it, I set it on for 3 minutes, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna meditate for 3 minutes. It's gonna be awesome. Close my eyes, and I swear to God, within about 45 seconds, I was so bored that I was like, okay, 1 minute is enough. I literally just stopped it after 1 minute instead of the 3 minutes that I said I would do it for. Fast forward a couple of weeks, I'm like on and off. I'm trying to meditate every day, but I'm doing it like every few days or something. I'm trying at least. I'm just weighing up like my life, thinking like I don't want to live like this. I don't want to live like a normal person, like a Jeffrey who's slacking in his self-improvement journey, who's like got horrible mental health, who's not being productive, who's not being fulfilled. And so I'm weighing up this massive decision to move back home. Basically, I was living in like this apartment. I moved out as a young man, I felt so successful. And I was thinking like, if I moved back home, I think it'd be easier for me to just like go hard in my own growth, to lock in, to go into monk mode. I'd go hard on business and I'll meditate every day and I'd train so much harder and everything. And I weighed up the decision for so long up until finally I was like, fuck it. Stick or twist, let's go. I ended up moving back home. I posted my lessons to YouTube, and very quickly within a year it blew up, and I was on 20, 30, 40, 50, 100,000 subscribers. By like 200k subscribers, I was like the new kid on the block who made self-improvement cool, because before me, self-improvement was fucking lame. There was like all these like skinny motherfuckers on YouTube who used to talk about like, oh, I'm not competing with anyone else. Self-improvement, by the way, was literally so lame before I started making my videos. And I was like this one abrasive, loud, aggressive motherfucker saying, I am here to compete with other people. I am competing with other people. I go to the gym because it makes me look good. I feel awesome. I'm loud. I'm aggressive. I was swearing on camera and stuff. And it was like the world hadn't seen this form of like masculine self-improvement just yet. It quickly turned into a movement. I'm this young kid. I'm 22, 23 years old.
I think that's a little bit of a funny thing to say. I mean, of course the world has seen that before. It's just maybe they hadn't seen it on YouTube or something like that, because I think what he's getting at is there has essentially been like a lack of really positive, strong, masculine mentors lately, right, in society. So I think that's what who he was trying to say.
still trying to discover, find my sort of way, find my values, and suddenly I'm like thrust into like a form of fame, not like real super fame or anything, but like some form of it when you've got like hundreds of thousands of viewers and everything. It gets to around 2022 where I'm making really good money, like I'm making $20,000-$30,000 per month. That's when my mind really starts to like become focused in business and in money. I'm hanging out with these millionaires. I fly to Dubai and I see these.
By the way, Hamza is from the UK, so I mean that 20 or 10, 20, $30,000 a month is like really excellent. And I know that he started to live abroad in different spots too for a while, like back and forth, like UK or I think a little bit of like Bali, Thailand, maybe some other spots, but definitely really solid, especially when you turn that into an online business and you can go wherever you want.
Guys who are making so much money, and it's like, oh, okay, like this is what success is like all these guys, they're on their phone 24/7, like messaging their team. This is what success looks like. Okay, having a big business and selling products. Okay, yeah, this is it. And from that point, I started to lose my way. I stopped waking up and doing my morning routine, which I had done for 2 years straight. I'd wake up and start working right away because that was the priority now. Business is more important than self-improvement. I think I still had like residue self-improvement gains from the 2 years that I just spent like meditating an hour a day and everything, so I didn't really feel it right away. But what I didn't realize was like slowly I was losing the progress that I had been building up. Like, I don't know if you'd believe this, but from 2020 to 2022, I had such pristine mental health. Like, I was so deeply happy. I used to smile all the time. I used to like, eat as clean as possible and meditate and take the cold showers and dopamine detox. I never ever used to use like social media. Like, even though I used to post on it, I used to create content but not consume it. So I had like very, very good mental health, and I slowly started to lose that. I lost my way. I started to just be focused on like the numbers, the revenue, the products, the money, and basically I slacked heavily, almost entirely, on my self-improvement. So I've seen videos, and you probably have as well, I've seen videos of other creators who make them about me, and they say like, oh yeah, Hamza fell off, and honestly, like, you don't even know the half of it, because I've not spoke about a lot of this online. Not only did I upload some videos,
and the reason, one big reason I want to go over this video is because a lot of people, like, we all fall off of self-improvement at some point. So whatever you can do to continue the consistency, do it, right? And he's talking about like some of these different practices that would ground him during the day, right? Like, for example, like the cold showers or the meditation, or waking up at like 4 or 5 a.m. maybe to just get all of his harder or deep work done, and then like getting some sun pretty early on, weightlifting, all these different things, right? And not that he didn't continue doing maybe a little bit of that, but he's talking about an issue that a lot of people struggle with, and some people don't even get on self-improvement, and they fall into what he did there, right? Which was like, they get too wrapped up, they're like a CEO or into their business, and they're obviously not taking care of themselves because all they're doing is like worrying about like the numbers and work and this and that. And I'm so busy. I work 12 hours a day. I couldn't possibly meditate or go to the gym or date or whatever, right? And I think it's really good that Hamza is recognizing this, right? Because, at a certain point, of course, like, you want to have the wealth. You want to be able to take care of your family, maybe even like retire your parents or something like that. But he's making a really good point here about the importance of your health and your mental health, because that's what drives you. That's what keeps you going, right? Like, if you feel good, you're going to be able to keep doing these things in a quality way. So your health always comes first, right? Like, if you had to wake up tomorrow and it's like, $10 million, like, you get the choice between $10 million or your health, basically. Right? What the $10 million means that you're unhealthy. Well, of course you would choose the health, because the health means that you can keep going. So that's the long way of agreeing with Hamza. Let's keep going.
It was like got very low views on YouTube. I also slacked on my own growth and my own self-improvement journey and my health. You want to see something? Just bring the entire fucking bit, I guess. There's literally big fucking, I don't know if you can see that properly, but like big fucking garbage bag of McDonald's that I had recently, and like drinks and stuff all around me. And like, there was a time when I could not imagine that I would be eating unhealthy foods. And you know, the thing is, like, when I think money blinded me, because this is probably the worst my self-improvement has been in years, but it's also the most money I've made in years. And so can you imagine like you're kind of falling off in your self-improvement, but you're making a fuck ton of money. You can imagine that you'd kind of like almost, you know, you devalue self-improvement in some ways. I'm sure that you'd have like better character than me, but like it's very easy to be blinded when you've got like the sort of monetary success and you're like, yeah, but it doesn't even matter about meditation because I'm making more and more money. I was the guy who used to meditate like an hour a day, right, at least minimum, and it was so special. It basically was like ADHD medication for me. I'm not like diagnosed, but I most likely do have it. I have the symptoms of someone who's quite like fucking fickle and jumping around, changing my mind so often. When I used to meditate an hour a day, I wasn't like that. I was so much more like sort of like focus and be able to like stick to tasks and stick to plans and stick to my word. But in like 2022, I stopped, and you know what was embarrassing? Imagine I built up like this massive personality of like, yeah, you know, guys, I'm the guy on self-improvement. I was traveling with my video editor in Thailand in 2022, and he looked at me once and he was like looking at me a bit weird, and he went, Hamza, do you actually meditate? And I had skipped it for a few months at that point, so I looked kind of embarrassed, and I was like, yeah, I do, because I had meditated almost every day for like a year before this. And he went, it's because it's just that I've never seen you meditate before. I was so embarrassed when he said that. I just lied, and I was like, oh yeah, I meditate in my room every day. It's a complete fucking lie. Like, I stopped meditating like early 2022 when I saw guys who were like richer than me who didn't meditate. So I was like, oh, well, you don't need it for this goal that I've got in business. Of course, like I should have realized, like, you know, there's more to fucking life than business. You should still have good mental health. But yeah, I've selected meditation since that point. For the last like 6 months, I've wanted to shred down, and I'll be honest, like I haven't. I've got a very good physique right now, very good, but like I've stayed at like 13, 14, 15% body fat in the last 6 months, even though I've actually set goals and wanted to shred down, just because I'm not even like disciplined with cardio, with eating clean, with tracking my calories. Like sometimes I do eat relatively clean for quite a long period, but I'll often overeat and I just won't track calories, and I just, you know, I skip out on cardio so often because I just do like bodybuilding and stuff. And even along with that, last year I fell off with lifting weights, which for a guy like me is so, imagine like, okay, you've been lifting weights for 10 years straight, you've built your dream physique and everything, and last year I literally stopped training in the gym for about 4 or 5 months, and I lost like a significant amount of muscle mass. And I remember like there's a picture of me, like I still look pretty good. If you look at my shoulders, I've got like, you know, I've still got an okay physique, but I was like, you know, I didn't look good, I didn't look healthy, I looked scrappy, I looked like scraggly and scruffy, and like I lost a lot of muscle mass. I got really quite skinny. I was like 170 pounds, like 70 something kg, 75, 77 or something. I should have been disciplined and kept going to the gym, but I just...
And that's actually a really good point that I want to tap into. I've talked about this a little bit before, but that's the whole reason, like your mental health is so important, and your physical health, right? Is, I mean, there's different levels to this. Like, I mean, you've probably seen a lot of overweight people who are really rich, for example, or you've seen someone who's maybe they're even like really rich and really like in shape, and then like they really struggle to get like a high quality, like a man, like to get like a really high quality woman in their life, right? And likely it's because they haven't balanced this in a way where their mental health is in order, their health is in order, and their self-improvement, like they're still focused on that, because maybe in that circumstance they would actually know better, and they would know how to keep growing and become a mirror to attract that kind of partner. But there's obviously like different angles that you can take this, but he makes a really good point, like you can fall off of it too, just like with the gym. Like, you know, he was a little bit buffer, a little bit stronger, and he became a little bit skinnier because of some of these things where he fell off. And that's why things like the self-improvement is really important, right? Because I mean, even let's say like you stop like going to the gym, stop meditating, doing this stuff. Let's say you're like the CEO of a company, or you know, high up in a business or something, right? I mean, you can make mistakes in your conversations with people because you're not mentally grounded, right? Because that all affects your emotional control. Like the fact that you've been working out, you really stress that way. The fact that you've been meditating, you always can be in a very calm state and have very level-headed conversations with people. And it's not about like whether or not you have anger or anything like that. It's literally just like, it's a helpful tool with your self-improvement, with your day-to-day life, and you can see it basically decrease or reduce the level that you can do things in all areas of your life. Let's keep going.
You know, I ended up having like a bad period of life late last year, and I was stressed and overwhelmed with things and whatever, and so I ended up just like skipping the gym or barely going like once a week. And then with my relationship as well, so for the last like 1.5 years or 2 years or so, I was like in a relationship with a girl that, you know, I'd shown on YouTube, that I'd built up this sort of brand of, you know, like this is my girl, and, you know, fatherhood is so important, we're gonna have children soon and everything, and that was the plan. And then under your perception of like, you know, a viewer, I abruptly broke up with her, but for people who knew me, it was like a very long-term decision. It was something I was weighing out for like literally months and months and months. But even that I could have handled better. You want to hear the fucking truth right now? This is going to be fucking gross, but I wasn't going to say this because it's embarrassing. I was just about to stop recording because I need a shit, bro. And like my stomach fucking hurts. You know when you eat shit food and your stomach just hurts? I'll be right back, bro. Sorry, man. I'm 27 years old now, but just imagine this for a second. Imagine achieving all of your goals by 26 years old. You retired your family, you've got millions of followers, you've built...
Also, that's a good point that I said. You know what I said at the beginning of the video about like his level of conviction around like we're gonna have kids soon, like the fatherhood era. Like, I mean, he makes a good point there. Like, there's probably a lot of stuff that was going on behind the scenes. It was just interesting to see like his level of conviction and like this is the thing. I'm really excited. Like, this is the thing that's gonna happen soon, and then the breakup that happened afterwards. Although, you know, if it's like what he says, right? I mean, I totally believe him. You know, it's like, well, maybe it wasn't so abrupt, right? Maybe it was something that was building up and was going to happen, like he'd been thinking about for months. And that's actually a good point too. Like sometimes if you have an emotional attachment to someone, you don't want to hurt them, right? And it can be tough to basically finally break it off. And sometimes you just have to rip the Band-Aid off and make it happen, even though it's difficult.
The aesthetic body, you're traveling around the world. It can go to your head so quickly before you realize, like I was certain, you know, when I was on the come up, I was so certain I was going to be one of those people who didn't fall off from like a lack of discipline or humility. I was so certain because I'd seen it with, you know, Conor McGregor and athletes and everything. They always kind of like discipline themselves in the early days, then they build success and then they just kind of like lose it all because of random mistakes that they made. And I always used to see that and be like, oh yeah, not me, bro, not me. And then I just find myself in this situation because when you do reach success, it's like, it's so easy for everyone who hypes you up for it to get to your head and you think like, oh yeah, I am invincible. Oh yeah, it's not that big of a deal if I skip one gym session. Oh, it's not that big of a deal if I like eat the junk food once because, you know, I'm already jacked, so it's fine. It's not going to make a difference. That's what happens. It's like, oh no, but I've already meditated so much, so if I skip it for a few days, it's not even going to make a difference. And then before you realize it, it's like, you haven't meditated for 2 months. And I must say, from your perspective, it must have been annoying as fuck and like cringe. They're so fucking cringe to see me make decisions that I didn't even stick to, where I'd randomly flip-flop and change my mind. Okay, we're going to do this style of content. A week later, we're going to do this style of content. A week later, we're going to do this one and this one. Business to self-improvement to Jeffrey Adonis videos to long videos, and, you know, just flipping my mind around. And I really think that that's like, that comes from a greater problem, honestly. Like, I think I genuinely think it's like a sign of ADHD, and I really want to start meditating to get rid of that now. It must have been disappointing to watch a guy who presented himself, well, not who presented himself, but to watch a guy who had a lot of potential, who was good on this path, who was a leader, to then not hold himself accountable. It must have been disappointing for you to watch that, because it was disappointing for me to experience that. So I can sit here and wallow in my pity and just get sad and stuff, or I can fucking get on self-improvement the same way that I recommend to the boys. And so this is my plan to have an amazing comeback. I'm just going to go hard on my...
I like this, by the way, because again, right, like he's got this level of humility and he's talking about like he fell off, he's coming back. And there's nothing wrong too with like learning and growing, right? Like, cause now he's like, you know, admitting like some places where like, you know, it must have seemed weird, like when he was trying all these different things and saying different things, right? Like saying one thing and saying the other. So that's why I said that at the beginning of the video. Is like, you know, it was like acting so certain about one thing and then doing another one and boom, 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 going very back and forth. And you know, there's nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with what he's saying either, right? Like, even like a funny example for this is like, you know, like people say this a lot about musicians. Like artists, right? They'll say, oh, like, I like their old stuff better. Or I like their new stuff more, right? And they changed. They developed a little bit more in their style. They started trying different things. They're an artist. So, like, you know, if that artist made the same kind of music the whole time, well, you know, I mean, you sort of know what to expect. At the same time, like, maybe there's some level of growth happening if they're deciding to experiment and try different things like a true artist, right? So, I mean, even just in the self-improvement example, like, I think these are all signs of growth. So what he's saying is good. And it's good for you to remember that for yourself, right? Like, just know that you're gonna, you know, be kind of wandering in the dark sometimes and stumble a little bit, but you're always gonna be growing. So just make sure that you keep that mindset of continuing to grow always.
Self-improvement journey the same way that I was before, but just with some slight twists. The first big one is that I want to surround myself with good people, particularly the kind of ones who call me out. You kind of probably know this, the sort of Hamza law, like the background story, but basically for most of the journey when we went from like 1,000 subscribers, like basically 0 to like 2 million, I had my right hand man, like my video editor Sam, and he is, I swear to God, he's the one person on earth who I can't convince. Like, I'm very good at convincing people. So I can literally, like, I'll have team members or family and I'll tell them, like, no, here's something bad I should do. But, like, here's, like, 7 reasons why it's a good thing. And then they'll give an objection. You know, because I understand sales as well. So it's like, I know how to overcome objections and everything. But Sam is the one guy I've ever met in my life who I can't. Like, if I've genuinely got a good idea, then he agrees. And then around that time, when, you know, I was falling off on self-improvement and I wasn't keeping up, like, the meditation, the social skills, me and Sam ended up having, Sam was like my old best friend, basically. We went our separate ways. We stopped working together. We didn't speak for like an entire year. And recently we've been talking again, which has been so nice. Because, you know, it's like, imagine you're speaking to a best friend again after so long. It's been a year straight that you haven't spoke to them. And suddenly, like, you click on Discord, they're online, and you call them. And we had like a 3-hour wholesome call yesterday, just talking about life and traveling and all sorts. And I said it to him, like, I'm so grateful that not only like we're friends again, but that I actually feel so much better with like my sort of YouTube channel and business and self-improvements, because I've got you by my side. And it always did so well when you were here and you were like advising me, because you understand the boys that I'm trying to help. Another action step that I've already taken is that I've unlocked the big Discord server. So basically it was locked for like 6 months straight and no one could use it. And I went through with Sal's help and I unlocked it all. And now at any given time, there's like 10,000 people online. I think there's just under 200,000 total people. This morning I went on a call in there, or 2 calls in there. It was full. There was like 75 guys on live calls, which is fucking awesome. Think about that. A Discord server where it was like 5 a.m. and there was about 75 guys on live calls together, all on self-improvements. And it was so wholesome, having like a one-to-one call with one kid and then going on to like the big call, and so many guys were asking me questions and everything. And you can join completely for free. There'll be like linked below if you do want to join like a self-improvement community. I'm going to start my habit tracker again. I haven't made my old habit tracker style. Like, I used to write it out on paper and stick it up. I've not made one of them in years, but I'm going to start one of them again. I'm going to put in like meditation and tracking my calories because I want to get lean and everything. And that always used to help me because it's just like physically there. You can't avoid it. And one thing I might do is start putting it up like behind where I record, so that it's kind of scary because it's like everyone's going to see it in my video. So you're going to see if I've like actually been sticking to the self-improvement this time. I'm also traveling and skyrocketing my social skills because I'm spending time with people like every single day. And so if you do happen to see me in your city, then make sure you come and say hi. Right now I'm in Singapore and then I go back to Bali soon. So this morning I woke up, not gonna lie, I felt kind of sickly. I am kind of sick right now. Like, my stomach hurts from the fucking shit food that I ate yesterday. I'm like nasally and everything. She's like, you know, poor immune system or something. I'm just kind of like tired and slow and whatever. But I sat up straight in the bed and I stuck on.
And even just that thing about the calorie or the macro tracking that he's talking about, a lot of people don't do that, right? They just kind of like eat a lot or eat less, and they just think of like, okay, well, I'm eating healthier than I was before, right? But that's another level to the self-improvement thing, right? It's like, you know, if you really want like a specific kind of body, right? You know, a specific weight goal, body type, whatever it is, like, more than likely it's going to be way easier for you to get there. Of course, because of the exercise and the sleep, right? All that good stuff. But if you dial it in so much, like that's the next level. Like, you get all your calories, your proteins, your carbs, your fats, like all those things dialed in the right way. I mean, it's going to be so much easier for you to achieve that goal. So that's a good point that he just made. Like, he didn't like say it that way, but there's ways you can continue to essentially like tweak and improve your self-improvement, which sounds funny, but like, you can always dial it up and make it better, or more efficient, you should say.
Medito app, the meditation app that I used to use, and meditated for 20 minutes. I'd like to right now say, yeah, you know, I meditated, I was so good. Bro, for most of it, I was distracted. I won't lie. For most of it, I was just there with my eyes open, just kind of like daydreaming and stuff. But I closed my eyes for a few moments and I was like practicing for a little bit. It was sweet. Like, I feel good. I feel proud that I actually sat down and did that, which I know isn't a massive accomplishment for you now that you're probably way more consistent on self-improvement than I am right now. But we've all got to start somewhere to like get out of the rut that we often do find ourselves on self-improvements. But I know that for a fact, like, there'll be guys out there watching this thinking like, damn, like, that's actually so helpful. Like, it's so good to see, like, you have to keep yourself disciplined no matter the level of success that you get to. And so how did the story with Jeffrey and Adonis go? As Jeffrey's, you know, built up the self-improvement chart. I wonder who I'm talking about. Maybe Adonis comes in and helps Jeffrey to find the way. People think that every time I speak about Adonis, they think that I'm talking about myself. I'm not even close. I realize that I make more mistakes than the men who follow me. I make so many mistakes. Like, I fuck up literally all the time. But I think one of the things that I do have, which is a really good skill, is I just have grit. Even when I do fall off, I do eventually end up picking myself back up and just push it forward anyway. That's what happens to Jeffrey. If you want to see self-improvement content, then you can click on the subscribe button below. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.
Awesome. So yeah, I mean, obviously, like a good creator. I like that he's sort of like coming back, making a bounce back now too. You can see like he's like a pretty good guy. And again, right, like I really like this video. Hamza's a good dude. He's helping other guys as a reminder to stay on self-improvement. And the name of the video, like, I fell off self-improvement, of course, right? Like, there can be ups and downs to it. And I think what he was saying at the end, right? Like, sometimes he slips up and has to bounce back. But I think that's one of the reasons that his channel is so great too, is like he's showcasing the self-improvement journey. He's showcasing himself learning on the spot, right? Like you can see him sort of slip up and be like, yeah, I know I said this before, and I was trying all these different things, and it might seem weird, like that I'm like learning in front of you basically, but he's being human in front of you, right? That's why I really like it. And also, even if some guys are being more consistent on self-improvement than he is, like he just said, right? Like his channel, obviously 2.31 million subscribers, like he's serving as a reminder for guys to continue no matter what level they're at, no matter how well they're doing, if they're doing better than him, better, right? Because like he said, right, like he's doing insanely well financially, and then he realized that he was really like messing up in terms of his mental health and different areas. So his channel serves as a reminder to stay on self-improvement and really focus on your health while you're doing these other things. So anyways, I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I'm going to start doing a few more of these here on this channel. And yeah, I hope you took some value out of this, and just keep going. You got this, bro.